Welcome to the Yes to Entrepreneurship podcast. So, real quick, before I jump into the conversation with this week's guest, I just want to let you know what this show's about. Really, this show is just about all the conversations we, entrepreneurs, those of us who are the why notters, have around entrepreneurship. It's the conversation that you don't typically hear because you just see those fun posts on Instagram and Facebook where we're hanging out on yachts or we're making a ton of money and driving these fancy cars, when reality is that's not real life. Real life is trying to figure out how you're going to pay bills, trying to figure out if you're going to make rent this month, trying to figure out if that new client really is going to help move you forward or if they're really going to bring you down. Really, anything goes in these conversations. And you, the listener, gets to eavesdrop in on these conversations that I'm having with fellow entrepreneurs. So grab your cup of coffee, grab your water, grab your tea, whatever it is that you enjoy, and a pen and paper because you're about to take some notes. Also, be sure to share this out. Oh, here comes my guest. Talk to you soon. Quick shout out to our sponsor, StupidEasy.com. StupidEasy.com is a new online course platform where you can easily upload and sell your online courses without having to be tech savvy and without them taking a cut of your sales. Discover more at StupidEasy.com, and we'll have a link in the show notes for you. I'm really excited to learn more about your business because I've seen you online, but I haven't really got to know you and how you got started with your business. So tell me a little bit about the Raising World Children and how you came about with that.
My story is actually quite funny. I started from being a lonely mom, which most moms are, and then we just kind of my husband and myself found us wondering what to do. He was like, why don't you get blogging seriously? And then I just got into it, and then I started thinking I should pitch publications, and from there I went. I kept up pitching, and then I went into Huffington Post, and I got accepted as contributor. One by one, just things kept happening, and then I started working on my book. And then I was like, when I think about cultures, I want to learn about different cultures around the world. I want to have a sneak peek, because once you're a parent, you really cannot travel as much as you would wish and want. So I figured, why not have a platform where everyone is welcome to write about their corner of the world and tell us what their life is like, and maybe all of us can learn together, so it would be fun. So that's what basically happened.
I love that. That is so cool because, and you know this probably by now from me, is I'm a total people person, and I am all about connections and being that resource and helping people find whatever they're looking for, whether they just need extra positivity in their life, or some inspirational quote, or to meet somebody where they can help with their services. I'm all about that connecting factor, and not really worrying about sales because eventually those will come at some point. But when it comes down to creating this community, I mean, that's really awesome. And so you were pitching, which is a big thing. I mean, whenever someone's in business, we always have to pitch at some point or another. I'm currently, actually I slowly decided to start pitching, even though it's still early on, for sponsorships for the podcast, because I figure, why not? Because I know it's going to be huge. People are loving it. Why not do that?
I'm so glad to hear it's working out for you. I know pitching is really difficult. Just to get the nerve up, to pitch itself is quite nerve-wracking. I have had a lot of people ask me, how did you pitch to Huffington, or how did you pitch to Thrive? And I said, it's not that I just pitched and I just got in. I had been pitching for quite some time. I tell everyone that, and I laugh at myself when I think I have like 60 something odd rejections, including people who just never answered back. And now I'm back to pitching in the form that I love writing, so I'm not letting that go. I just today actually got accepted into a new publication called Des Vides magazine. it caters to Indians in the south of USA. So that's pretty interesting. But and now I find myself learning how to pitch to brands to work with raising world children, and that's so difficult to do because finding the right brand for you that works out is, I think, more difficult than just pitching to random publications. That's like crazy.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's true. And I remember when I had my magazine. So I don't know if you know this, but my first business was a magazine business, and I did both print and online for 4 issues. The first 2 issues actually I printed, but all 4 are online. And I did the hard, the cold calling for pitching to try to get advertisers, and it was very, very hard. And I came close with a couple. Like Lucky, the brand Lucky, and I think Adidas was the other one, which were really cool to get that far into the system there. But yeah, like you said, it's very hard. It's easy to come up with names that you want to reach out to, but it's hard to get into that system and to even hear back from somebody.
I'm finding the names itself hard. I don't know how, because I'm not even thinking that far. I'm trying to find someone who's medium level, who would love to collaborate with a global platform like ours, and who is family oriented and have so many criteria, and someone who believes in raising awareness, because that is something that I wasn't clear with the first brand I worked with. And unfortunately, when the articles started coming in, they realized that they weren't very open to different issues, and then we had to part ways because they said that we cannot endorse this. And I said, okay, if you cannot endorse us, then I really don't think that I would be okay with partnering with someone who's not accepting of different people and the community feel that I'm going for. So that was pretty sad and happy actually. It had a silver lining that I learned about business, that you need to be very clear about your values in the beginning itself when you're a family oriented thing.
No, that's so true, because as most of us know, there's so much money out there in the world that's waiting for you to find and to pitch for and to get, but all money is not good money. It's not the right money for you. So it's like the fact that you're taking that time to filter out what works and what doesn't, and to understand that, yes, you're passing up what could be potentially a huge opportunity to have a sponsor or advertiser, but it's not right for you. So you have to say no. And by doing so, you feel good about that decision. And that's huge in business.
Yes, I mean, I really believe in being authentic, and often I have people who are willing to write, but then the questions they ask are, so what are your page views, and what is your demographic like? And I said, my point is to raise awareness. That is the first thing. It is not about, I mean, I would love getting those hits. Of course, anyone would love getting those hits and stuff like that. But my point is that we need to be authentic in our voice, and that is not my focus. My focus is getting good content out there, and I truly and honestly believe that the rest just follows, as long as you're putting out a good product. Eventually, of course, there are going to be struggles, but eventually, yes, you will get the right readers and the right brands, and I mean, everything just works out.
Oh, yes, I am 100% behind you on that, because like I always tell people it's don't worry about the numbers. Those will come later. Like, you have to focus and do what you are supposed to do. Like, do your job so that other people can do theirs. And to dive deeper on that part, it's like, I tell people, I share a lot and I'm a resource for people. And, sometimes I'll feel guilty about sharing too much, but then people are like, no, you don't share enough. And so it comes down to, my job is to share the information I come across. And then your job as the person that's following me, listening to me, reading about me, whatever, your job is to filter that information and understand which ones you want to keep and learn more about, and which ones you just want to pass off,
Yes.
And when we do that, then it makes sense.
Exactly. This is something I just recently, I just did a training on writing, and I told people that please, there is so much out there. Please prioritize what you want to do and what works for you. Don't just blindly follow things, because I am a person who really believes that, there are going to be a million things out there and a million names who are going to be wanting your attention, and who say that, this is what will work, and try this and let's do that, and, do this and do that, and you will get those hits, and you will get that reach, and you will get those, you will get those numbers working. But not every way is right for you personally, and you really need to figure out what your path is going to be, because unless you are true to what works for you, eventually you're just going to, slump and get bored of it, or be disappointed in yourself or whatever else. I mean, it's just negativity basically. I mean, I think my point is that as long as you're true to yourself, then the positivity will keep you going. You will feel passionate about what you're doing, and that's a very big thing, I believe.
Oh, it's so true. And speaking of the negativity, how do you overcome that emotional roller coaster that as entrepreneurs we all go through it? And it's one of those things where we have our highs and we have our lows, and I'm a very positive person, and I'm very blessed to be able to bounce back fairly quickly for the most part, but even I still get affected by it. But I know not a lot of people can in that sense, because maybe they don't have the right support system or whatever it may be. So how do you get through that time?
I have had this conversation a lot of times recently, but because, I mean, as a positivity coach, when I'm giving training, I have a lot of people coming back and saying the exact same thing you're saying, that, how do you get through the negativity? I said, my answer to that is, please accept the negativity. Accept that it is okay to be disappointed. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to feel whatever, even if you're feeling jealous for those hours or for those minutes, it's okay, because you're human at the end of the day, right? I mean, it's not like you're a saint, and I mean, it takes a lot to become Dalai Lama or something like that. But we are all human beings, and we are humans because we feel and express emotion, and it is okay to feel that. And what is important is to process it, to understand why you're feeling it, and then just get over it, in the sense that move on to what you need to do next. I mean, there is no way you are ever going to be positive all the time, and you are definitely, that's just, setting yourself up for failure. Because like what happened with me for the brand, I could have really been disappointed and stuff, but I was really happy that the brand was open enough to come and talk to me and say that, hey, you know what, we cannot support these kind of articles. And I was like, oh, okay, but do you understand people are like that? And that really drove me to become more passionate about what I was doing. And I was so happy that day, because you have to find this, sorry, I jumped on to the next thing, but you have to find the silver lining in everything.
Yes.
And for me, it was that I became so passionate that, yes, because since the minute I started it, since the moment I announced it, I have been getting so much positive encouragement and so much wonderful, support, that, it's kind of, it just keeps you going, right, on a straight line.
Yep.
And then you wonder that, if everyone's nice and if everyone's accepting, then is there even a need for me to be doing this? I hope you're getting what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And when someone like this comes across and says, we don't like reading about transgenders or something like that, and I'm like, okay, but you do understand in India, it is a very different scenario. And plus, it is okay, you need to accept everyone for whoever they are, And it really made me even more passionate to raise awareness about different issues in the world, that people may not be totally aware of. I couldn't get through to that person, but maybe there would be someone out there who would be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, this makes sense to me, kind of thing. So you just need to accept whatever has happened and learn from it, because any day that you've learned something is not a lost day. Every day has a potential to teach you the smallest or biggest lesson. So that's what I do.
I love that, because that is so true. A lot of people will talk about, they get bummed out about failures, what they call failures, and they get bummed out about, these disappointing times. I always look at it as an opportunity. I rarely call anything a failure, because I've trained myself to call it an opportunity, because I didn't fail. Like, for instance, I always use my magazine business. I didn't fail because it wasn't making money and because it wasn't successful. I ran it for 2 years. I had 4 issues. Nobody can say that was a failure, because it gave me all of the street credit that I needed. It gave me all the skills I needed. it gave me actual tangible products, which is what I wanted. And it gave me so much from that. Even though I didn't make enough money from it, it still gave me so much. The reward was so much greater, and it got me to the next thing, and it got me to my next big client. And it showed me the doors to entrepreneurship in another field, another area. So I always tell people, you have to look at it as an opportunity, because you had to get there in order to pivot or to see that you needed something different, and to keep utilizing that. And the fact, like you said, having it each day, you're learning something, and you're being able, if you can turn that into a learning moment, a teaching moment, you're good. And it's just going to be so much better from there.
Life is all about that. I remember when I made my first MailerLite web form and everything.
Yeah.
The day I started, I remember going into a group and saying, I have no clue what I need to do. Can someone please tell me? And I was asking question on question and everything. And a week later, I worked really hard. I worked like 24/7, literally, and with my kids and everything. And by the end of it, when I launched, I literally had only 4 people sign up. So for a week, for not even a week, sorry, actually 3 days, I was disappointed. I will tell you. Honestly, I was really disappointed that I worked really, really hard in getting the products out. I had like 3 checklists, 1 ebook, and something else. I don't even remember now, but a date night thing. And no one signed up for it. And I had thought it was a brilliant idea. It was wonderful, But when I was writing an article, and then I just looked up at my wall where I had written my goals for the year. And creating a launch of such products was one of them, from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And I realized that, hey, that's an achievement. Within a week, in less than 7 days, I learned how to do it. Not only did I learn how to do it, I launched it, and it's out there, So I have those things with me forever. So, I mean, that knowledge cannot be taken away from me. And now I teach people how to do it. So that's awesome.
And that's a huge point right there, because I know that even for myself, but even with entrepreneurs that I work with and talk to, that's always the thing. We get so hooked on the numbers, the vanity metrics of social media, and like you said, the hits on our website and everything. And it's like, if we can just focus on the value that the people that are paying attention to us is giving us, we're so good. I mean, those 4 people, you could literally just have one person on that list, and they could be the one person you needed to get your message out there and to change everything for you. And we, by default, we want that quantity versus the quality. And we have to train ourselves to remember that it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality, because that, like you said earlier, that's what's going to attract the right people at the right time. We have to have a lot of patience in this job.
Without patience, nothing is possible. Someone had asked me in one of the interviews that how many rejections have you had? And when I actually, that really got me thinking, and I actually calculated, and I was telling a friend even the same thing, that I have 60. Like, people are like, oh, you got into Huffington Post and stuff like that, and they think, like, people, Indians don't usually write as much. So it's pretty fascinating to them, being in the online space. Now I find more and more people, but earlier on, like a couple of years back, there were not many people I knew. And in my immediate circle, there are hardly any. But I said, you need to realize I have had a lot of rejections before I have even got into Huffington. And, I had to do a lot of struggles and do a lot of guest posting before, I could understand what my voice was and what I really wanted to say, and what, those kind of things. And luck, of course, plays a major factor. Let's not negate that. I mean, you really need to be at the right place at the right time, do the right thing at that exact precise moment, and that's when the universe just kind of make things happen. So
it's so true, because that's the thing, is we get caught up and think that everyone's an overnight success that's big out there. And somebody told me, and I always forget the exact quote, but it's something to the effect of, an overnight success is 10 years in the making, because like you said, we go through all of these trials, all of these past experiences that people don't realize or don't even know yet, because we haven't talked about it enough. And so they're like, wow, you got into Huffington Post, that's amazing. And
you must have just sent one email and they blew them away with your writing. Like, how cool is that? And it's like, no, I've actually been doing this for a very long time and I've had so many rejections.
I actually loved this thing that a kid did on my website. I have kids contribute to the website, and
cool.
one of the girls made a craft and then she put it up, and I have them write a description of what the festival is and stuff like that. And she wrote that, do not think that this is easily made. I had to do a lot of hard work before I could become this good. And the fact, it was so awesome to me, the fact that she realizes that she's good and that she knows that, and this is like, I think a 10, I'm not sure about, I think 10 or 11-year-old, but to understand that she knows she's good, but it took her a lot of hard work to get there, and to be able to give that message out that, hey guys, you know what, you can look at this and say, wow, that's awesome. Or you can look at this and say, hey, I want to do that. Let me, get cracking and try drawing some, kind of thing. So it was amazing. That was wonderful to me.
I love when kids, I used to work in after school programs for about 8.5 years for a school district. And, I've always been around kids and I've always been just good with kids. And so being able to see them at such a young age, understand things like that, and to, they have no filters, which is awesome because they'll tell you how it is. And to be in that mindset so young and to understand that at that age just blows me away, because it's like, we know plenty of adults who don't even have that yet, and it's just like, it just amazes me how they pick that up and how they're able to carry themselves at that level.
Yes, kids. I nowadays have something I tell everyone, that if you want to understand adults, pay attention to what kids are doing.
Yes.
Because people don't really change. People just learn to hide their emotions better, kind of thing. Because kids, as kids, they don't have like you said, they don't have a filter. They have no clue, how to respond. And that is the immediate reaction that a child has is exactly what any adult would have, But the only fact of the matter is that we are better at hiding our disappointment and our jealousy and our sadness and all those negative things. And I think somewhere the social media has made us feel that, what, we need to be more closed about our disappointments and more open about our happinesses.
Yeah.
That's kind of like I think a bad trade-off, you would say, because I personally believe in shouting out of both things, because I don't know if there's a saying in English, but in Hindi there's a saying where you say that if you divide, if you share your sorrows, they become half, and if you share your happiness, it doubles up, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I believe in. So if I'm sick, or if I'm down, or if I've had something, I'll tell that on on Facebook that, what, I'm not doing so good, I need some help.
Well, and that's an important characteristic, right, of being an entrepreneur. And I think it's hard for people when they first start out, because that characteristic is huge. The fact to be able to ask for help. Even if you're at a 9-to-5, people have a hard time asking for help because of whatever reason. But for the most part, it's usually we don't want to seem like we don't know what we're talking about, or we don't want to be seen as weak and not doing our job or whatever. And it's like, no, ask and listen. Like I always tell people, ask and listen to see what the response is, because you may think you know what it is, and you may think that you're doing the right job, but then you find out later that if you would have just asked, it would have been simpler, or better to do it this route versus that route, or whatever it may be.
Yes, it's something I truly believe in. I'm actually teaching my son that right now. I mean, not right now, but these days, that you need to be open to asking. I mean, asking is not bad. He has some friends in school who ask questions randomly, which is not good either. But I tell him they should never feel shy of asking a question if you're in doubt, or asking a waiter or a waitress for something, because there's nothing wrong in asking a question. Asking for help is not, I myself took a lot. I'm not good at asking help. It takes me, but in personal things, online and and in work where it really matters, I'll be the first person shouting out a question.
Yeah.
know what, I didn't understand that. But personally, it was very difficult for me to ask for help. But recently I've had a couple of friends tell me that, you know what, when you're having birthday parties, you really don't need to do everything by yourself, ask for help. And I realized that, you know what, I need to apply it to me personally, because since I started working, I have realized that I really cannot do it all. I have to let go of some strings.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I need to do, is ask for help in, for events at home, or social events, and some personal things, kind of, which I would never have earlier.
Yeah, no, and that's a big thing too, even for myself and, as creators and always coming up with things, that's our biggest opportunity, right? Is to be able to let go of certain things and allow others to help us, whether we hire somebody as a contractor or an employee, or we just have, I always refer to people in my life as my team members, because I have people that I don't pay, but they help me with whatever, I can have my mom helping me with household stuff. I can have my buddy helping me with XYZ. I can have, my friend that we meet for coffee every week and we just talk about work stuff. I mean, there's all these people in our lives that are part of our team. And that's why you have to be aware of who you surround yourself with, because of the fact that you need to have those people that you can. I'm always constantly making a list in my head of who I'm going to have work for me and do what, because I like to plan ahead and I like to be prepared. And my whole goal, obviously, in business is not only to support myself, but more importantly, it's always been to be able to put something out there that is well received, and that I can hire people like my friends and just have this cool workplace, whether online or in person or both, where I'm helping people out and I'm able to hang out with people I know and just provide something that's really great, because I'm all about helping people build better businesses and being able to. I'm really passionate about business, and it's just one of those things that I don't know, it's just something that lights a fire inside me in a good way, and it's just really cool. And I always joke, like, if I had to, I'll go work a part-time job to support myself, as long as the business is being taken care of and people are happy.
Exactly. That's the sign of an entrepreneur, they say. One of the first things I had used to tell my husband is, like, the minute if we ever, do get off the ground, level, I would love to be able to give back to the people who are writing with us. And that is the reason I have trainings in my group, the people for who, I make sure I provide whatever input I can to them personally. The dedicated writing team also, I make sure that, I was just telling one of the most recent person who joined our team, I told her, I said, I'm very sorry if I overstep, please let me know, because I take a very weird interest in your business. Because I want to give back as much as I can in the way that I can currently, which is not monetary, which is in knowledge. So I would rather do that, So in whatever way I can give back is what it's about. And that's something I've honestly learned from people who are way ahead of me, is that they never shy of giving you any piece of advice, or even if it means just giving free time to you,
Yeah.
that, oh, you know what, I'll need to have a strategy call with you. They'll be like, okay, yeah, let me answer your question, or they'll answer my question immediately. So that's something I really love about those people who I see and admire, that they're always willing to give, they're always willing to help out, and that's just wonderful. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, no, it is. And, that's the beauty of what we do, right? It's the fact that we are always looking out for others, and we're not in it for the money, because let's face it, we're not going to be getting, there's that possibility of making a ton of money later, but we're not in it for the money. We're in it for the experience and to be able to serve first. And then if that other stuff comes later, great. And that's really what sets a successful entrepreneur and small business owner apart from everyone else, and to have a sustainable business, is to be able to serve first and to pay attention to the people that you're serving, right?
But do you ever wonder that whether being a good human is possible in today's day and age, uh, and be a successful entrepreneur with all the people who get ahead? You know, uh,
It, yeah,
we have all seen those people get ahead as well, right?
yeah.
Do you ever wonder whether you're on the right track?
Oh, always, yeah. There's always, because we have so much self-doubt, especially when we have those moments where we thought
Choosing
we
to do
had,
the right thing.
yeah, many people online who we see being this quote successful entrepreneur that we don't know really what's going on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of fake it till you make it type thing, which obviously that's a thing there, but it just our perception of successful is different because of social media, I think.
That brings me to a wonderful point that someone had brought with me, that so when the money comes in, you'll feel successful. That just makes you feel successful. I said, actually, I feel successful right now.
Yep.
That was shocking to them. I said, no, but I have a quality product out there which people are liking, and I am in publications which I had always wanted to do. I mean, I've wanted to write since I was in ninth standard. That ninth standard is the first time I was writing a novel, typing on one of those first computers. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm living my dream. So I'm successful by my standards. So that's what I find very funny these days, is that success is only counted by money. It is not counted by fulfilling your passion, or or traveling, or getting whatever you wanted out of what you're doing. Rather, it's only if, people perceive it only if you are getting money out of it, which I don't think is the right value system.
No, I 100% agree, and that's the thing. I've been out of my 9 to 5 completely for almost 2 full years, I think it is now. And let me tell you, I still, almost on a daily basis, wake up and want to pinch myself to make sure that this is still not a dream, that I'm actually able to do what I love and be creative and be able to help people and be able to connect with more people and have these conversations. I mean, it blows me away. And, I try to take full advantage of it. And I try not to think or worry too much about what bills need to be paid, obviously you got to keep an eye on your finances, but you don't live too large, and you just pay attention and do the work and understand that that's the reward. For me, I'm the same way. That's my success right there, is that if this all came crushing down tomorrow, I would still be okay. I'd be obviously disappointed because I love what I do, but I understand that I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to be able to do what I've done so far, and nobody can take that away from me. And I was blessed with that, and that's the reason why I took the time and left my job at that time, because I knew that opportunity wouldn't come later if I waited too long. So I had to take full advantage. And yeah, that's the success right there, because money comes and goes, and we're never going to have enough money, because every time you get a good chunk of money, the universe knows, and they have a big bill with your name on it that takes that chunk right back out of your pocket. So it's a never-ending story.
Oh, you have got that so on point.
Every time it happens like that.
But one of the things you said really resonates with me, is that meeting wonderfully positive people is a huge bonus. There are so many people I have come in contact with who have written with us on Raising World, and who are helping me in my entrepreneur journey. And it is just wonderful when you meet authentic people who really want to put good out there,
Yes.
good products and good feelings, and help each other up. And that's just wonderful to see. It's amazing to witness.
It truly is. And I always, tell people teamwork equals success, because we can't do this alone. We have to work with each other. And frankly, I don't want to do it by myself, because even if I could, how lonely and how boring would that be? I mean, you got to have other perspectives and
Yes.
be able to put that out there. And, I have my I say I have my book in, I'm writing my own book as well. But what's your book? Because I don't know that portion of it. So tell me, what is your book and what that's all about? Because I'm interested.
It is an unfinished saga so far. I have put it on hold, but it was mostly my cultural take on parenting, how my past and my relationships affected my parenting per se. And it is more a take on common sense parenting, which is lacking these days, somehow I feel. So it's going to be something along those lines, you know. So yes, that's what I was heading for. But when I was writing it, and I mean, that was the whole point of it. I mean, the relationship I have with my mom and the relationship I have with my father, I'm sure there are other people out there who have different kind of relationships that have brought them to where they are, and uh, not just the relationships, but how they are affected by the cultures and stuff like that. And it would be wonderful to read about that. I mean, I would love to know, because I am the kind of person who, if I take a vacation, I just want to go to the beach and relax.
Yeah.
Do the whole, you know, 7 days in Europe thing. I cannot do that. But I would love to meet people from Europe and know what they do in their day-to-day life, or how they celebrate a particular festival or a holiday, you know. So that was what, I mean, it literally just happened within 3 days. I mean,
Cool.
the day I started thinking about it to the day my husband, we were discussing it, and my husband said, this is what you're meant for. This is what you have been wanting to do, you know, and it just sounds right. And the way he supported me, and I was like, okay, I've got the support I need.
Yeah, that's huge to have that kind of support.
Yes, I mean, he's been a blessing in my life. I mean, it is incredible how much he does in support of my entrepreneur journey. Is incredible.
No, it is. And now, does he work with you as well on the business, or does he work his own 9 to 5 or his own business?
No, he's just my how do you say it? What's the word? Oh, shoot, I'm blanking out right now. But he steers me.
Oh, yeah.
Steers me. It's the Ezine and everything is just me. But yeah, he stirs me that, you know, if I start saying that, oh gosh, where's the money going to come from? And, you know, those kind of things.
Yep.
And he'll be like, you know what you're doing is good. Just keep doing what you're doing. You don't need to worry about that. It's okay. We can manage it. It's not that big a deal.
I love it.
And it is incredible to me. And that is the moments when I keep falling in love with him again and again. When he's like, you know, if I worry about something, he'll be like, you know what? You don't need to worry about that. Focus on putting a good product out there. That's all you need to worry about. Like if I said no to someone, the article was not very much in line with us, and I was feeling very bad about it. I was honestly really heartbroken because I tried very hard to get the person to understand, and it was just not coming through. And then I had to say that no, I provided them someone else's publication to go to, but it just didn't work out for me. And he said that, but what you did was for the good of the magazine.
Yes.
I mean, you have to keep your focus on that. And then I was like, okay, fine. I felt a little bit better. So it makes a huge difference, like you say, to have a good support system around you to help you keep, whenever you slump down, to, you know, plump you up.
Yep. And you just nailed on a big one that I always love to point out to people, is that you basically, when it comes to, like, you know, people love to, you know, they want to get as many clients as possible because they want to make that business and everything. But then they don't realize that they need to be able to be okay with referring people. So you brought up that great point that you referred somebody who needed it, or who could have done a different perspective on it, or whatever the case may be. You decided at that point that you could not do that for whatever reason, and so you wanted to provide that opportunity to somebody else, and that's huge. I mean, I had a client once, we hopped on a call. She needed a website done, and it was going to be more than what I know I am capable of doing, and I could, of course, take the time to learn it and do that. but that's not my zone of geekness. I'm going to steal that from my friend Kate. She's my best business besties, and she calls it that. And so that's not my zone. Like, I know that I can refer her to somebody else, and I did. And you know what? She was blown away. At first, I think she probably thought, like, why doesn't he want to work with me? But I explained to her, because, most people feel like that that's kind of weird. Like, most people don't refer people like that in a lot of businesses. And so I was like, no, I definitely want you to have somebody who can really do a good job for you and provide you with what you need for a good deal and for the time frame that you need. And she was blown away and wrote a fantastic testimonial. Even though we never actually worked together, she provided a great testimonial because she knows that at any point she can come back to me, and whatever she needs done, she knows that she can trust me, because now she knows, likes, and trusts me, right?
Yes, it is wonderful. I mean, one of the reasons I had started Raising World was also to give a lot of people a platform where newbies could come in, that because I'm the first reader over here in the magazine. So I'm pretty much letting everyone say what they need to say. I even tell people that, hey, if you don't want to write, it's okay. Just tell me your story and I'll type it for you, because I want to get those perspectives out there. But my point is that everyone needs a beginning, right?
Yes.
So sometimes it's just fine. If it's not a good fit for you, it is completely okay to just, tell them about someone else who does just, or maybe you just even don't do that, you don't provide that service. A lot of people even don't feel okay about that. I mean, of course, it's multi-level marketing. I wouldn't prefer someone because that's kind of not my zone.
Right.
But there are things that you choose to do or choose not to do. But of course, if you know that there is another person who works really hard and who completely deserves good content, and it's not good fit for me, why not? Why not give them that chance?
Yep.
And you never know what works out.
I know, and I love that. And by us working together in terms of promoting that positivity and putting all these good vibes out to the world, I mean, I truly believe that people just feed off of that and they love it. And that's a huge part, I should say, of why I've started to do more Facebook Lives. I did not like being on camera. Like, photos fine, but video, I just really did not like that. And I started with Periscope, and then, I fell in with Facebook Live because that's just where I hang out the most. And I got to tell you, I'm not one of those people that I'm not snapping and putting every single minute of my day online, even though it feels like it kind of now. But I'm not one of those people, and I'm not like, oh, let's take a selfie doing this and then this and that. And so for me to be online now doing these live videos, I have to I hesitate sometimes still, and I tell myself, you know what? It's not about me. It's about the people that are watching, the people that want to see me, the people that want and need that moment that I want to share. Like today, I just felt so pumped after my gym workout. I was just feeling so positive, and I mean, it just was like one of those days, where you drive and every light is green, and you're just having the best day ever. And so I said, you know what? I should just go on Facebook Live on my personal profile and share this with somebody, because if I hold back and don't do this, it's not fair to them. They need that moment, because whoever's going to tune in obviously is curious. And there were people that tuned in and they were like, I needed that. Like, thank you. That was a great message. I appreciate it. And all I did was show up with a smile and tell them how great the day was, and that going to the gym motivates me because I see so many different people at so many different levels working out all different body parts. And it's just such a cool experience, and it just motivates you to do more and to be more,
Yeah, that's inspiring to me. I've just recently started doing Facebook Lives, and that's also after taking a course because my hands would really start sweating, and public speaking is not my thing. Dancing, I can dance in front of a million people, but speaking is like totally not my gig. But I've just started doing that. So I really would love to my aim and my desire is to actually to share my journey as it's happening. But I
Yeah.
just don't have it in me to just switch on Facebook Live and share it then and there. I'm working myself up to it, but
Yep.
I
And
don't have it yet. So that's inspiring to me. So thank you.
good. Yeah. And that's the thing. It does take a lot. And let's be honest, because you'll hear it if you haven't already heard it, but it is different, of course, and this is general speaking, this is not me saying it, it's just general speaking, is that yes, it can be easier for a guy to just jump on Facebook Live than a woman, because we have those characteristics where we're like, well, we got to make sure this is right, and we got to put this on and that and whatever. I mean, we all really think that, but generally speaking, that's always an issue, and that's why a lot of people decide not to do Facebook Live. And it may or may not work out for people depending on what their business is and stuff. But what's cool about it is if you come at it from that perspective, like I mentioned, where you're helping somebody, and it doesn't have to be 500 people. It could just be that one person that needed your message, because they're going to carry it over to the next person, and it just keeps spiraling that way. And it's a beautiful thing. And what's cool now is Facebook's rolling out, and of course, who knows, it might be out to all accounts now, but they're having Facebook audio live. So for instance, from my phone, I have an iPhone, and from my phone, instead of doing a video live, I can just tap on the audio, and it's basically kind of like a podcast, a live radio show, if you will. And that way, you don't have to get on camera, but you can still put your message out there. And, let's be honest. I mean, how many of us can really sit through all of these live broadcasting things? I mean, I rather listen to the audio, because then I can actually do something else. Whereas the video, it's like, I can't really do much on my phone. I can't really do much on my computer because I have this video, and it takes up so much bandwidth. So the connection is slower. So, there's other ways around it, but the fact that you're prepping yourself is good.
Yes, I am trying to. And then there's the thing that as it is, people, I was on Facebook, like a lot of people I know, like probably like 75% people I know do not, there are lurkers. They watch, they don't post,
Yeah.
Pretty much like, oh, she's always on social media. I mean, that's what, so now I laugh, and I'm like, see where it got me, being on social media all the time. But yeah, for the long, I mean, when did Facebook come in? 2006, 2007?
Somewhere right around there, yeah.
So I'm one of those people who will be constantly posting stuff, right? I mean, and there are very few people who do that. Most people just read, or they're consumers. They're not really people who put stuff out.
Yeah.
So now when I see my old posts, it's pretty fun. But I remember the times when a lot of people are like, oh, I know you're always on social media. And now when I think about doing lives, and I'm like, do people really want to see my face that often?
I know, I'm the same way.
Yeah, but I'm a sharer. Actually, my problem is, like you mentioned, I'm an oversharer.
Yep.
Trying to work on it, but after a lot of my conversations, I'll be like, in my head, I'll have a TMI sign in my head that, what, they didn't probably need to hear that. But still, I still I'm a big person on sharing, because I do believe that, everyone has bad days, and everyone has, moments when they're not very proud of themselves, and when you make fun of yourself feeling the same way, or maybe you just share what you felt, or maybe you just share whatever, good or bad, good also.
Yep.
And it just says to that person that, hey, it's okay,
Yeah.
the same thing. We are all like I've written it on Raising World. I think we are all in our own ships with our own ecosystems.
Oh, that's cool.
See what's happening in the ship next to us. We need to have a small viewpoint, small view into that world too, because we all are struggling. We all are in storms of our own making, or circumstances, and we all are struggling in our journey, and it's wonderful to have someone to hold our hand and say, hey, you know what, I'm going through the same thing. So that's there.
I love that analogy. That was well said. That is so cool. I love that.
So it's just that's how life is, isn't it? It's we all are taking each other forward. We're trying to. Uh, those who aren't, I think, might appreciate someday that there are others out there who are trying their best to reach to them. That would be wonderful.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, let me ask you, before I let you go, let me ask you, what's one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who just starting out and is thinking about, becoming an entrepreneur, or is an entrepreneur but still hasn't, gone too far into it?
Oh, there is so much I would love to tell them. But the one thing that I have mentioned earlier is be authentic in everything you do. By authentic, I mean that find your truth, find your voice, find what works for you, because there are going to be a lot of, especially with Facebook and with all the social media out there, there are so many coaches and there are so many get clicks soon schemes happening that you really need to be very aware of what you want to do in on this journey, and how you need to get your advertising out and how you need to get your voice out. And before doing anything, get your writing proper. A lot of what you do out there is about your message, and your message needs to be completely clear about what you're working on and what you hope to do by it. So that's something that I would like to tell people.
That you nailed it on that, and I agree, because when I started out, I knew what I wanted to say, and the writing didn't necessarily reflect that, and it took a long time. I mean, probably a good year and a half before I finally got my message clear enough. I mean, I can always improve, of course, but clearer so that it's understandable for not only myself but for people that don't know me, trying to figure out who I am and what I do. So no, that is exactly what people need to work on. I love it.
Today I worked on someone's copy for a funding campaign, and it was 2.5 pages long, and I edited it to just look like 3/4 of a page. And I said that, you really need to be clear on that. And that's something that I think is staying with me right now in this moment, is the fact that be authentic and keep your message clear. I think those are the two things that we all need to work on. We need to constantly work on these two things, actually.
Yeah.
Because writing is something we need to constantly improve on, and being authentic is something we have to keep our mission in mind no matter what we are doing.
I agree. That well said. Oh my goodness, this is so good. Thank you so much for hanging out with me.
It's been fun. I had an inkling it would be awesome, and it was better than I expected. Thank you so much, Ed.
Oh, that's so cool. You are so welcome. Like, I'm loving this. This is, I mean, I'm smiling from head to toe right now, because
Another thing which your listeners might love to know about starting in being an entrepreneur is that you need to first ask the right question. You need to figure out what the question is that you need to ask with the right word, because a lot of times you might use the wrong word and people might give you the wrong answer
Right.
for your problem. And then you need to find the right person to answer the right question, and then you need to find the money to pay that person. So, I mean, I'm just being funny, but yeah.
It's true, though. It's so true.
Yes, it is. That's how we all get ahead. That's how we get good messages and good content out there, because we all know that if something is really worth sharing, we all need to work towards it together. That's the only way it's going to happen.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Dive deeper into the conversation with this guest as well as others by going to yes-to-entrepreneurship.com/podcast. Over there, you will find a list of all the previous episodes and bonus material for each guest. I hope that you'll continue to share out this podcast, and please be sure to leave a review in iTunes and subscribe so that way others can discover this show and be able to realize they are not alone and that they have somebody they can count on to provide value and motivate and inspire them to keep moving forward. Together, we can make it happen. And like I always say, teamwork equals success. So go out there and do something great, because why not?